In around 3 hours, the Detroit Lions will kick off their second playoff game ever at Ford Field. The Lions are hosting Baker Mayfield and the Bucs, who are coming off a huge win against the Eagles. They pummeled them last week in Tampa. And honestly, if you would have told me 2 weeks ago that we beat the Rams and then we're playing the Bucs, I'd be way less worried for the Bucs game than I was for the Rams game. But now, after watching what Baker Mayfield did to the Eagles, their defense wasn't there at all, and they could not stop Rachaad White in the run game either. But I'm a little nervous. This is the biggest game of my life. The Lions have made the playoffs 3 other times since I've been alive, and only 2 of those times I've actually watched the game, and we've never won. We won last week, and now if we win, we go to the NFC Championship. It doesn't seem real. Some of my friends are big Lions fans, and then the other portion of my friends just don't really watch the NFL, and I've forced them all to come over to watch last week and then today to watch these games. I was texting one of them, "You have to come over tomorrow. You can come, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "It's the biggest game of our life." And then he was like, "Well, can you explain to me why it is the biggest game of our life?" And I was like, "Let me lock in." Had to send him a nice long paragraph text message explaining how the Lions have just suffered for years. Last week was our first playoff win in over 30 years. It was the first playoff game ever at Ford Field. I'm in disbelief that we got 2 playoff games. The Cowboys getting destroyed. I mean, that's just ball don't lie right there. That was just karma. And it does suck that the Packers couldn't pull through and take down the 49ers last night. They had the game. They were up all the game. They lose the lead at the end after missing a field goal. Then Jordan Love throws the interception, trying to drive down the field to either score the game-winning touchdown or game-tying field goal. But I mean, that was a terrible throw. Just instead of throwing it away on, I believe, 3rd and 2, just throws it across his body. Not even a jump ball, just throws it blindly. I mean, oh my gosh. But I think that's all right. If we win this game and go to San Francisco in the NFC Championship, I'll be fine with that. I mean, just making the NFC Championship is amazing. It would have been crazy to have it at home, but it's still a miracle that we have this home game as well. Every year I see it. I mean, and this year it's been super prevalent. Home field advantage in the playoffs is everything. I mean, look at last week, Lions and Rams, 1-point game. If that game's not at Ford Field, probably a different outcome. You see the Texans destroy the Browns at home. One of the best, probably the best defense in the NFL gets torched by a rookie quarterback. Then that rookie quarterback goes to Baltimore, and their offense has 6 false starts in the first half. Philly going into Tampa, they get destroyed by Baker Mayfield. If that game's in Philly, probably another story. And with the Dolphins going to Arrowhead to take on the Chiefs, they couldn't do anything in the cold. I've also noticed some Lions fans, I think, have almost maybe counted this matchup as a win. They're like, "Oh, we destroyed the Bucs earlier, 20-6 in Tampa. This is going to be an easy win." I think this is going to be just as hard as the Rams, if not harder. That Bucs defense has played really well this season. Additionally, that game where we beat them, I believe, in week 5 in Tampa, our defense did just destroy Rachaad White in the run game, and our secondary played pretty well. But that was their worst game of the season, and that was also a few months ago. This team is hot. They torched the Eagles. Against the Eagles, Cade Otton had 8 receptions for 90 yards. David Moore had 2 receptions for 60 yards. Mike Evans had 3 receptions for 48 yards and a dropped 40-yard touchdown pass. Godwin, 4 receptions for 45 yards. Baker Mayfield threw for 337 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now, I think the difference between the Lions and the Eagles is, one, we're going to be at home instead of Tampa being at home. And Rachaad White is not going to be able to rush for 72 yards on 18 carries, averaging 4 yards a carry, because the Lions' run defense is a lot better than the Eagles' run defense. We have one of the best run defenses in the league. We did great against Williams last week. And additionally, I think the Lions grit, the atmosphere, we want it more. The Eagles' whole team just looked lethargic out there. They looked like they didn't even want to be there. Williams had 61 yards on 13 carries, which may look impressive, but First, it's a playoff game. I feel like in playoff games, players always play a little bit better. And additionally, Williams was getting well over 100 yards in the last 4 games. Holding him to only 60, I think, is very impressive. Again, as I said earlier, though, I do not think this is going to be a free win or just a nice walk in the park for the Lions. Puka and Matthew Stafford torched this last week. Mayfield is hot. I do love Baker Mayfield energy. I really do wish he wasn't playing the Lions this week because I would have been rooting for him to make it to the NFC Championship. Him walking out of the tunnel last week, cracking the smelling salts. I mean, there's all the videos of Baker Mayfield getting hype. There's a video that popped up was the evolution of Baker Mayfield, just him dropping the flag at Oklahoma. And then there's another video of him when he's on the Browns. He gets thrown out. It's a late hit, smashed into the sideline, and then he gets up after getting smashed in and hypes up the crowd and throws the football. I love Baker Mayfield. Brings great energy. Very, very exciting player to watch. And I am a little nervous that him, Gallup, Otten, and Mike Evans, it's a solid wide receiver room, solid weapons. They could torch the Lions a little bit. And I know I sound redundant, but I think the run defense will be the difference in the game. Being at Ford Field will be huge. But if the Lions pass rush isn't getting there and Ford Field's not loud and it quiets down after a little bit and Baker Mayfield starts to have time in the pocket, it's going to be a long game and we could lose. I don't think that'll be the case. I think Hutch, our pass rush, will be able to put pressure there. Hopefully Jared Goff will stay protected. I mean, he had all day to throw against the Rams, and that has really been what Dan Campbell, Ben Johnson, and Brad Holmes have built with this Lions offense. Is Jared Goff's a solid quarterback when he has time to throw. And so they start with a solid offensive line. They build that offensive line of protection for their QB. And when he has all day to throw, he's locked in. I feel like you can't say that about every QB. Obviously, eventually QBs are going to find open wide receivers when they have that much time. But once Jared Goff has a few plays where he has time to relax, throw the ball, he gets in that rhythm. And once they start driving down the field after a few completions and a few 5-yard runs from Monty and Gibbs, I'm like, this is going to be a touchdown. I'm not even worried, which is a weird feeling to have as a Lions fan. But I don't know. Like last week against the Rams, I was really stressing. But I just felt I had this feeling where we got this. Our boys are dogs. We're going to win this game. Our defense can step up. I've said this all year, and I really feel like our defense is a little underrated. Our defensive line struggles sometimes to get pressure, especially in the big games where we've lost. I feel like that's where a lot of criticism has come from our secondary, from our defensive line. But in a lot of other games, I feel like our defensive line first, obviously against the run, has been great. But our secondary can step up. They can be hype with Gardner Johnson back. Branch has played well. Sutton, Kirby Joseph. I mean, sometimes these players do struggle, but I think overall they can step up in big moments. I feel like I'm not making a lot of sense, but I guess one way I could put it is our defense and secondary defensive line, it's not top tier besides against the run, but it can be in certain moments. I feel like our defense isn't just always mediocre. Sometimes on possessions, they step up and they force the offense to go 3 and out. And these players aren't just a bunch of mediocre players. These guys have the ability to step up and make game-changing plays. Kirby Joseph's picks, Melifonwu's picks, Branch with the huge hits, Hutchinson's with the sacks, the forced fumbles. I mean, these guys are playmakers. My prediction for the game, obviously, Lions win. I feel like I'm confident in saying that, but I'm still extremely nervous and can see us losing. So I guess maybe I'm not confident about that. I'm just super nervous. I could see us losing this game. I could see it where we go out there and our offense has a few bad possessions and Baker Mayfield starts throwing deep bombs and the game gets out of hand and then it's just a heartbreaking loss. But at the same time, I could see that going the opposite way for Detroit. I think it's going to be another battle. I think it's going to be a close game. I have the Lions winning this one 27-17. I feel like it's close for a while. And then at the end, we score a touchdown or kick a field goal that puts the game to 2 possessions and out of reach. I think Mayfield throws for 1 touchdown. Rashad White scores a touchdown. I think Goff throws for 2 touchdowns. And then Gibbs scores a touchdown. The 2 touchdowns for the Lions, I think, are going to be Reynolds and Laporta. And I think everyone by now has seen the stat where the Lions have a super solid QB to tight end, pass connection with Laporta and Goff, and then the Buccaneers have one of the worst defenses against the tight end. So I think Laporta will have a big game. Not as big as people will say, but at least 50 yards, and I think he will have the other touchdown. Anyway, I'm super excited and nervous for this game. I hope the Lions win. Hope we all have a great time watching. And I don't know. If the Lions lose, I'm just going to be heartbroken. But I really, this is a great scenario. Everything is pointing to the fact that the Lions have a great shot at making it to the NFC Championship to play the 49ers. Let's just hope and pray that this happens. And then we get to relax and then watch Chiefs and Bills tonight. That'd be the best scenario. Great Lions game. They win. We get to watch Mahomes and Allen fight it out.